one of the things I think that a lot of people are having difficulty with today and in the coming days has been, what do we tell our kids?
Right.
We tell our kids that, don't be a bigot, don't be prepared. And how do we tell them now? And what I fear is that we as Muslims will retreat back into our insular enclaves, especially when it relates to our children, because there's a natural tendency with our children that we want to insulate them from whatever's going on, the Islamophobia or racism, and we think that somehow we can protect them from that.
Right.
And I think we need to challenge this idea because, listen, I mean, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when they were in Mecca, there were kids there. And was it ideal for them in their development to see some of the horrible things that were going on? No, but that was a position they were in.
Right.
I was thinking of the Prophet ﷺ when he was just being ridiculed and mocked by the Quraysh in Mecca, and even to the point where they would throw garbage and entrails on him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I think of that story of Fatima, Sayyidah Fatima. She went and she saw that, but she removed it from the Prophet ﷺ's back. Stories about her that she would stand up to them.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
So I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that kids are resilient.
Absolutely.
And we have to take the gloves off with them, and they have to realize that, yes, we're living in a difficult time. Yes, there's racists.
Right.
Yes, there's people who hate you because of religion. But we have to prepare them to be able to stand up for who they are, proudly be unapologetically Muslim, which is one of the good things I've seen a lot of people posting today. Stand up, be proud of who they are, and be able to respond.
I think some of our Muslim leaders, mashallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has endowed them with this level of activism, of wanting to get out there and change the world. And that's beautiful. And that's wonderful. And the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi was always in some sort of activity. But one thing I would say is that the activism needs to be balanced with a spiritual message as well. If we're sending these safety precaution messages to everyone about what to do in times of heightened security, and there's no remembrance of God there, or there's no indication, hey, say this prayer that the Prophet ﷺ used to say, that's imbalanced. So I would just say that I think there just needs to be more of a spiritual balance that's put into our dialogue, always turning people to trust in God, and then take these other means that are all available to us. But also what we need to do, and the onus is on a lot of Muslims, is not siloing ourselves to the extent that we seem like we are just the other. I mean, even at work, our workplace, I mean, we have people that are of different faith-based traditions, different ethnicities. How often do we get to know each other? How often do we speak to them? How often do they feel comfortable enough to actually talk to us about our religion? I mean, I have this policy with my coworkers that you can ask me anything about my religion. And they open the door and they ask a lot of really interesting questions. And one thing I've noticed is that people who are not Muslim have a very basic understanding of what our religion is. They're just going off what they see on the news. And until they have someone that they can interact with who can actually change that perception, it's going to continue that way. So we have to be at the forefront, Saleem.
I think we need to actually get out of the mindset that there's this community, there's this community, there's another community. For example, say African Americans. There's 30-40% of Muslim in America are African American.
Right.
So there's intersectionality there. Right. There's intersectionality with Latinos, intersectionality with white Americans.
Absolutely.
We're one community.
Yep.
It's just a matter of that we need to stand up for the truth. We need to stand up for justice. We need to stand up for the rights of others, whoever they may be, from whatever background they are. That's our mandate as Muslims. That's our mandate from the Qur'an.
Before this concept of, da'wah used to be that, it has to have been the religious individual who's gone overseas and studied all this knowledge, and then they're the ones sort of preaching religion to everyone. It's completely shifted. Da'wah, the focus of da'wah now is in the workplace. And I don't mean da'wah in the sense that I'm calling you to my religion by telling you, hey, you need to believe in one God and Muhammad is his prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. No, the way that da'wah was in the past was that you would have these merchants who were just Muslims practicing their religion with their beautiful character, and they made an impact where they went just by the being of who they were. And so I think that the Muslim community of America, and this always to me goes back to those spiritual practices we talk about. If I continue to beautify myself spiritually, if I take on all the faults that I have inside my heart, which will then help me be able to interact with the world in this really beautiful way, I will become a more beautiful human being. And so when I go to the workplace where I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a federal employee, I'm a state level employee, I'm an IT guy, I'm a lawyer, I'm whatever. If I go with those characteristics, it makes a natural impact. And it's not about converting people. It's not about that, but it's just about the opinion that they'll have about me. And so that's why it's so important.
To listen to the full episode, please visit Imanwire.com.